In this video, I will use group policy to deploy IrfanView. I will deploy it using two different methods. One is where we create a group policy for our domain computers and then the computers install the software during startup. Another one is where we create a group policy for our domain users and then the users themselves can install the software whenever they like. I will also use Wix to package the executable into a MSI file. I'm starting this video from my GitHub page, and that's because there are a few bits of information here that I will be using for this video. And I will leave the URL in the description down below. Also, in the bottom of the page you can find more of my videos that are related to this topic. For example, here you can find videos about my Windows Server setup if you're interested in that. There is also videos about extra group policies and settings that I'm using when deploying software using group policy. And also there are a few videos about Wix on mainly how to install it and use it. And now I will begin this video by downloading IrfanView executable installation files, and for that I will use the link that I have here. Then I will download the 64-bit version, so I will click this download, and then I will go to my downloads folder and wait for the executable. And now that we have our executable, we need to package it into a MSI file. And for that I will be using Wix, and for Wix we need a configuration file on how to package the executable, and I have a few files for Wix in my GitHub page. As you can see here, we have this one right here that is already finished configuration file that you can check out if you want to, but for this video I will be using this one called template. And I will click on it, then I will click on the button right here to download the file and go back to my downloads folder. And now that we have the template, I will right click it first and then rename it, and I will rename it to IrfanView. And now I will right click it and I will open it with Visual Studio Code. And you can use any other text editor to open this file. And as you can see, it's an XML file. Basically, it's instructions for Wix on how to package the executable into MSI file for us. And when working with this file, we mainly care about this part right here. Basically, we need to fill in the information that is specific to IrfanView installation. First, we need to provide the name for this package. So I will name this package IrfanView installer. Then for exe, we need to provide an executable name, and for that I will go to my downloads folder, right click on the executable, select the name, rename, and then I will select the full name to include the extension because we need to have that, and then I will copy the full name. And I will paste in the value right here. Then we need to provide the path where we currently have our executable, and for me it's on my downloads folder, and my downloads folder is in my D drive, so I'll type D and downloads. Then we need to provide silent arguments because we want the installation for this executable to happen silently. And I have the information in my GitHub page, so I will go here and I will copy the silent switch. I will paste it right here. Then for the version, we need to provide the version number for this MSI package, and it's unrelated to the software version, but in most cases I like to keep it the same. So I will just copy the version number from the executable name, paste it here, and then I will add a dot here. Then publisher is not that important, but it's a mandatory field that we need to provide. So I will enter, let's do automation. And then we need to provide a GUID, and GUID is basically a unique identifier. And we can use PowerShell to generate one, and I have the PowerShell command in my GitHub page, so I will select it, select copy, and then I will open terminal, I will paste in the command and press enter. And as you can see, every time I'm using the command, I'm getting a new unique identifier. And I will copy one of those unique identifiers, and I will paste in the value here. Then we need to save the file, and basically we're done creating our configuration file. Now we can create our MSI file using this configuration file with Wix. And to do that, I will go back to the terminal. Then we need to change the directory where we currently have our configuration file, and for me it's in my D downloads folder. So I'll type cd to change directory to D and then downloads and press enter. And if I type dir, we can see our executable and also Wix configuration file. Now to generate the MSI file, we need to type in Wix, build and provide the configuration file name. So for me it's IrfanView.wxs and press enter. And let's go back to the downloads folder. And as you can see here, we have our MSI file. And now that we have our MSI file, we can start deploying it. And for that, I will right click it, I will select copy, and then I will go to my VMware workstation where I have my Windows Server environment. For now, I will minimize the server manager and I will move the MSI file to my desktop. And from my desktop, I will move it to a network share that is accessible to my users and computers. And for that, I will need to go to the file server. And in my case, my file server is SRV02. Here I have the software share. I will go inside of it and I will create a new folder called IrfanView. And then I will go inside of it and I will move the MSI file into this folder. And here you need to make sure that you have the correct NTFS and share permissions. In my case, for example, if I go to Properties, Security tab and Edit, you can see that I have authenticated users with read permissions for my NTFS permissions, and I also have the same permissions for my share permissions. And authenticated users covers both users and computers. And with read permissions, that means that both of my users and computers are able to access the share and execute files from it. So you need to also make sure that you have the correct permissions. And for now, I will close everything here and go back to the server manager because now we can start creating our group policies. And for that, I will go to Tools and Group Policy Management. Then I will right click on Group Policy Object, select New, and the first policy that I will be creating will be for domain computers. It's where the software is installed during startup. So I will name this policy Assign IrfanView and click OK. Then I will expand Group Policy Objects. I will select the policy, then I will right click it and select Edit. And because this policy is for our computers, we need to go to Computer Configuration, Policies, Software Settings, and Software Installation. Then I will right click here, go to New and select Package. Here you need to make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share and it's not a local file. Like in this case, this file is located on the server desktop. It will allow you to select the file, but when the computers would try to install the software, the installation would fail because they would not have access to this file. So you need to make sure that you're selecting a file from a network share. And for that, we can click here and go to the file server. So I will type in SRV02. Go to the software share, the folder, and select the MSI file. Here I will select Advanced and OK. Then I will go to the Deployment tab, Advanced, and I will select Ignore Language when deploying this package because I want to deploy it to all of my computers no matter what system language they have. Then I will click OK here, and we're basically done creating our policy, so I will close this window. Then I will go to Details, and for GPU status, I will switch from Enabled to User Configuration Settings Disabled because this policy currently has only computer settings in it. And I will leave all other settings on default. And after creating our policy, we need to assign it to an organization unit that is holding the computers on which we want to deploy the software. In my case, the organization unit will be this one, domain computers 1. So to assign the policy, I will click and hold on the policy and then drag and drop it on the organization unit. And as you can see, the policy appeared here and also in the list here. And that's basically all that we need to do. Now we can test this policy, and for that I will go to one of my client machines that is located in this organization unit. And the client is this one right here, client 01. And here we want to update our group policy. So for that I will go to the start menu, I will type in cmd. I will open the command line without administrative privileges, and then I will type gp update. And as you can see here, the group policy update was successful. Here we get a informational message saying that it detected a software installation package, and for the software to be installed, we need to restart our computer. So for that, let's type shutdown -r -t0 and press enter, and let's see what's going to happen. And as you can see here, a software package is being currently installed. And it seems that it's done, so we can sign back into our user. Let's check our control panel. Go to uninstall a program. And here we can see our MSI package, IrfanView installer, that's published by Let's Do Automation, and here is the version number. And also we have the software itself, because we installed the MSI file, and then the MSI file installed the software package for us. And it's possible to hide the MSI file from this list, but it makes troubleshooting a bit harder if something goes wrong, so I like to keep it. Now let's see if IrfanView is working. So for that I will go here, go to new, and I will create an empty image file, and then I will open with IrfanView. And as you can see, we get an error message, but it's only because this file is an empty one. I will click OK, and it seems to be working just fine. And that's it for deploying the software for our computers. Now let's create another group policy, but this time we'll allow our users to install the software whenever they like. And for that we need to go back to the server. I will right click group policy objects once again and select new. This time I will name the policy publish IrfanView. And I made a typo here, so I'll add H and click OK. And now we have the policy right here, so I'll right click on it, select edit, and this time, because the policy is for our users, I will go to policy, software settings, and software installation. Right click here once again, go to new and select package. And here make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share, like this one, so I'll double click on it. Here I will select advanced and OK, then I will go to deployment, and for installation user interface options I will select basic, because I don't want to allow users to select anything during the installation process. And then I will click OK here, and we're done creating our policy, so I will close this window. Make sure that you are selected the policy that we created now. And for GPU status, I will select computer configuration settings disabled, because this time this policy only has user settings in it. And once again, I will leave all other settings on default. Now, after creating our policy, we need to assign it to an organization unit, but this time we need to assign it to an organization unit that is holding our users. In my case, the organization unit will be this one, the main users. So to assign the policy, I will click and hold on the policy and then drag and drop it here. And as you can see, the policy appeared here and also in the list here. And now to test this policy, I will go to my other client machine that I have here, client 02. And here I have this shortcut that allows us to install software from the network. And as you can see, currently the list is empty. So to fill in the list, we need to update our group policy. And for that, I will go to start menu. I will type CMD and I will open command line without administrative privileges. Then I will type gp update. And as you can see, the policy was updated successfully. So now if I refresh the list here, we can see our software package. I will double click to start the installation, and the installation seems to be successful. I will click OK here. Now let's create another empty image file. Right click it, open with, and select IrfanView. I will select it here and select adjust once, and error message once again, but the software itself seems to be working just fine. And that's it for deploying IrfanView, and in the future videos I will show you how to deploy it using other software deployment tools. So like and subscribe if you want to see that, and see you in the next one.